Hey YouTube, this is round 100 and
Channel 30 here.
with the Rancor Podcast Weekly. So, sorry about the late upload last week. Because of time, we didn't really have time to do it, but then I got it uploaded. So we're doing our 4th episode, I think, this week. I can't really remember. I think it's our 4th. And, so yeah, we came up with a great topic for this week, and sort of also to do with the Clankers Bankers podcast topic, except not really. It has to do with Mace Windu in that fight, though. So we're gonna be talking about would Mace Windu beat Darth Sidious if it weren't for Anakin, or was Darth Sidious holding back, or anything to do with that? Would Mace Windu have won? So I'm gonna go ahead and start this off. I'm assume most of you guys have seen Revenge of the Sith. Not one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. In my opinion, terrible, but it's not the worst either. Um, the scene, Mace Windu and Kit Fisto, Stacey Tin, I think Eth Koth, and another Jedi, they all go to fight the Chancellor, the Emperor, not the Emperor, Darth Sidious, and all the other Jedi get picked off easily, but Mace Windu is actually holding his own against this guy. And you guys have to remember, Mace Windu is better with lightsabers than Yoda. He's the best the Jedi Order has. So Mace Windu is fighting him, and Mace Windu gets him on the ground. Now, I don't know, like, against the window, I don't know if Darth Sidious knew Anakin was going to come, or if he really was losing right there. And if he knew Anakin was going to come, I don't get why he would let himself get messed up by Sith Lightning. So we're just going to go with that he didn't know. And Mace Windu was winning right there. Then Anakin, somehow being the idiot he is, he did not see that the Chancellor tried to kill Mace Windu. There's a bunch of dead Jedi on the ground, and Anakin calls it treason to the Jedi Order to kill him and not arrest him. I really don't get that, because this guy killed a bunch of Jedi Knights. Isn't that reason enough to kill him? So, now, Jedi Voice 30, if you want to go ahead and talk more about this.
Yeah, I think that, Darth Sidious, he was just, pretty much cowering, against Mace Windu when his face was pretty much on fire. His face was smoking, and, that's where he got, the wrinkle face from Return of the Jedi. And then, I think he was just cowering, but then, when Anakin comes in, and, I think when Anakin comes in, he sees them fighting, Sidious is, cowering again, and, but then when Anakin comes in, he just, starts fighting him again, he just starts fighting him again, and then when Anakin comes in, Darth Sidious is, he's, so, pretty much, really happy that, Anakin has turned to the dark side, so it's making him fight better, and then...
I have something to add with that. I think that when the Chancellor, he wasn't really cowering, but he was getting destroyed, and that's why he was dying. And when Anakin comes in, like I said before, I think it was because Anakin came in that the Emperor won. That's really or you couldn't say won, because what if he didn't win, as they said in the Clankers Bankers podcast? What if Mace Windu's still alive? So, yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much, and then, he's just slow. Yeah, Palpatine is just, so glad that, Anakin has decided to turn over to the dark side, so he just goes ahead, and then, supposedly kills Mace Windu, throwing him out the window.
Yeah, it was only because Anakin cut off his hand, and that startled him, to where he cut off his hand with it holding his lightsaber, so Mace Windu didn't have the lightsaber anymore. And that's part of the reason he lost, because he can't... Mace Windu isn't as powerful with the Force, not power of the Force. He couldn't have stopped the electricity like Yoda can. So that's pretty much Mace Windu's only power is his lightsaber. Against Sith and stuff, he would only be able to... His lightsaber would be his best asset. And he was using that to block the lightning, and that's what was killing the Emperor, or Darth Sidious. And when Anakin comes in, Anakin does his little, you know, I don't like Anakin at all. Sorry for the people who do. He gets all mad because Padme might die, and he needed the Chancellor or Darth Sidious. No, I need him, and then he cut off Mace Windu's hand, which I don't really get at all because Mace Windu was killing the Chancellor because the Chancellor was about to kill him. Anakin's just so stupid. He acts like he needs this guy when he doesn't because he actually ended up killing Padme because he turned to the dark side. And that just, I really don't like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
It's not the worst movie.
I really don't like this scene. I think it's one of the worst scenes in the movie because seriously, like they let some of the best Jedi, the best Jedi of the Clone Wars show, Kit Fisto, East Cost. We saw them in, really great action in the Clone Wars, but, they were just fighting for a couple of seconds, and then they just pretty much let Palpatine kill them.
This is where...
I think that it's just George Lucas being lazy.
No, this is... Yeah, you're on the right track here. This is the problem. George Lucas doesn't think his stuff through. You guys have to admit, he just creates stuff as he goes. It's not a thought-out story, no matter what he says. He didn't have it planned out to make a prequel trilogy when he made A New Hope. That didn't happen. That he does not think this stuff through. And the reason it didn't, I don't think it was really meant, because if you guys know, Darth Sidious looked all slow, and he went, rah, and flew towards them. He looked really slow. I think that was meant to be sped up, but it's for us to be able to tell what he's doing. Because I really don't think that the Jedi would have been able to lose to a guy going that slow. And I think it has to do also with the actor who played Darth Sidious being old. And same thing with Count Dooku, how they could only do headshots with him because he's too old to be able to do anything. But yeah, I don't think George Lucas had this thought through at all. And this is why it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Any of you guys that are really like these movies and you guys know a lot about them, you guys have, and sorry about my dog playing with his toy if you can hear that in the background, you have to admit that George Lucas did not think this through at all, and it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, George Lucas, he made Star Wars, and Star Wars is one of the best movies of all time, but he's just not a good director. Spielberg's much better.
Exactly. He's a good idea guy, but he's not a good director.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and make your stories, but you can write the scripts, just don't direct it. Let somebody else do that.
But yeah, this wasn't a really good scene. I really don't like all the CG they use, when the Emperor does that stupid little flip.
Well, they kind of had to, because like I said, he's so old, he can't do anything.
Right.
So anyway, with this scene, that Mace Windu gets shot out the window. Who knows what happened to him? And then let's get into it. Anakin bows down to the Emperor. Really, I think he had the potential to kill the Emperor right there. Take him by surprise and just cut his head off or something. That could have happened. Really, Anakin looked like he was about to cry, and he cowered. He bowed down to this guy that he freaking didn't even have any allegiance to before. He acted all high and mighty Jedi whenever they were talking before, and Sidious told him that he used the dark side before in the movie, and then he goes and tells Mace Windu, and then now, probably literally an hour later, he's bowing down to him. I really don't understand this. Like I said, it's not thought through well. The story for this part was not good enough.
Right.
Yeah, and he bows down in Order 66 and all that kind of stuff. The reason that I don't get how Mace Windu I don't know, it just annoys me, and there's not really much else to say about this part. And then Anakin, like I said, goes and kills all the younglings and all that stuff. And once again, I think let's get into Yoda versus Sidious. I think Yoda could have won in a flat room, but since they're fighting in the Senate room, I think that Darth Sidious had the advantage because Yoda, there was all those Senate pods and stuff, and when Yoda falls off, I just didn't like that because, like, you guys know Yoda's awesome, and he could have just flown back up and started fighting him again. I don't know if it had to do with the shock troopers coming, which really, like, 5 shock troopers, Yoda could have cut all their heads off in one swipe. And Darth Sidious, I don't think he could have won because obviously Yoda's master of the Force, 800 years of the Force, he just mastered it. I think that Yoda easily beats Darth Sidious in lightsaber fight and Force fight. So I'm saying in a flat room, Yoda would have won. I don't know what it had to do with really. I really just don't understand this. Yeah, I don't understand this at all. Why does Yoda run away? If any of you have a good answer to this, please comment. Why does Yoda run away? It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it has to do with him being tired out maybe, but I don't see how that could be because he was just being awesome, shooting the Senate pods back at Darth Sidious, so I don't really understand the scene. And then Obi-Wan's fighting Anakin, and when they're fighting, obviously, yeah, that was probably the best part of the movie. They're fighting, and why don't we let Jedi Boy Theory talk about this because he hasn't had much to say for a while,
yeah,
so I want to hear his voice.
You know, I think that the Obi-Wan versus Anakin scene, it was really good. It was one of the best fights of any Star Wars movie, and it pretty much makes up for the entire prequel trilogy, all the disappointment, you know, Jar Jar, the love of Anakin.
Drama of Episode 2.
Yeah, you know, I think it pretty much makes up for all this, you know, all this lava fighting and, you know, all this lava, and there's like all these different courses. You know, at one point they're fighting in the, they're fighting in like the control room, the Separatist control room, and then they're fighting on this like big, like, you know, like this big, tall, I don't know what to call it.
That would make a really good diorama, I think.
Yeah, and they're fighting on this bridge, and then they're fighting, and then they're fighting on these like 2 platforms. They're Anakin's, you know, on the droid, and Obi-Wan's on the platform. They're just, you know, they're just fighting, and
yeah. So this scene, obviously Obi-Wan can beat Anakin because Anakin is fueled by rage and hate and the dark side, and you know, Obi-Wan obviously could have won. I don't get. Like, I think Obi-Wan's kind of a jerk. He let Anakin burn. Don't you think Obi-Wan would have put him out of his misery? But obviously, this is why I hate the prequels. You know what's going to happen. You know who's going to live. Like, you don't know exactly what's going to happen. You know who's going to live, who's going to die because of the original trilogy. So this is where it doesn't make sense because Obi-Wan wouldn't be such a jerk. He would go and stab Anakin in the head because Anakin's burning alive, really. You're going to watch your Padawan and sort of, you could say, brother burn alive in lava. That's just torture. You wouldn't do. I know Obi-Wan wouldn't do this, and you know, it has to do with stuff has to happen in this. Anakin has to survive, so obviously he can't die. Obi-Wan has to be the jerk, and yeah, when Anakin worst. I'm just gonna highlight the worst part of the Revenge of the Sith. The moan of Darth Vader. The really no. This is the worst part.
Yeah,
if you guys haven't seen this, just go look it up, and then you will laugh so hard. You will make fun of this scene so much. This is why I hate the Blu-ray releases of. Yeah, I hate the Blu-ray releases because they added the no when Luke is getting shocked. So
yeah,
that's
it doesn't make any sense to me. You know, Anakin killed his wife, and he says, "Where's Padme?" That's just so stupid.
Yeah, I think you know, Revenge of the Sith, not the best, not the worst. Original trilogy always beats prequel trilogy. That's about all the time we have. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. This has been Round 100 and Jedi Boy 330 with the Rancor Podcast Weekly. See you guys next week, and expect an awesome podcast next week. Round 100 out, and
may the Force be with you.
Bye, guys.